Hello, welcome back to the Art of Reduction. My name is Reeve Andrews. I'm your barber for today. And today we're going to focus on short hair. A lot of my clients come in almost every 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I know my main objective is to try to give haircuts that at least last a month for my clients. That's my main objective. But a lot of guys love the service, love coming in, talking, and just love getting a haircut. Though the issue is with these guys is they don't come in with a bunch of hair, so there's not much wiggle room to work with, not much room for air. And unfortunately, a lot of people think it takes less time to do a short haircut like this, though really in the end, it takes a lot of steps. So I'm gonna go over a lot of clipper work today. My main focus, I just got these, is our Wall Magic Clip. Been around forever. I just think it's a great beginner clipper for everyone to learn how to fade with. I love these so much. They're long lasting, great battery life, and this is my main focus for the haircut today. I will show you what I could do with this. And my other thing I'm going to use a lot is my Hattori Hanzo trimmers today. These things are dogs, they rip through anything. So I'm really going to try to do most of my haircut with these two tools. So pretty unique opportunity to show you what you could do with just some clipper and trimmers. And here we go. So I'm going to ask my client to come up. His name is Henry. Great guy. It's good to see you. Thank you for your time today. Yeah, we'll take a seat here. So I'm just going to tuck him down real quick, kind of get him ready. So as you could tell, he doesn't even have, he has about a ½ inch of regrowth. He's about at maybe an inch, a little more than an inch on top. We're going to go down to skin. We're going to do a mid fade on him. And then we're going to just leave a little bit of bang to have a little bit of lift to try to elongate that face. Nice tight frame around the face. Really nice tight fade in the back where we're going to taper it down really tight. Try to use some straight razor today. We have a hot towel cabbie. Again, with the Art of Reduction, our main focus is for the barber or stylist who wants to take their game to the next level. These are very long videos, we know. Though that's okay. So try to watch these in segments, get through it just piece by piece, and hopefully you learn something. Each haircut, I might not teach you anything, though if I could just teach you one thing, a video is my goal. So I'm going to drape my client. And when I think of a tight haircut, like I said, there's just not much wiggle room for air. So what I like to do naturally is I just instantly get my client down, and I'm going to start combing his hair, even though it's short, just in its natural growth pattern. So I'm going to run him around here, and I'm just going to kind of run. It doesn't matter. I just grabbed a random comb. It doesn't even really matter right now. You could use a brush. You could use a comb. I'm just naturally just kind of bringing them around and putting that hair in the natural shape that it wants to go. Because really the way that hair grows is really going to determine how I use my clipper today. So I've been practicing. I know a lot of gentlemen kind of start low and then work their way longer. Though I'm really going to try to reduce a lot of weight. Like I said, I'm going to try to use most of my clipper work today without using any scissors. So I'm going to try to reduce a lot of this top just with my clippers first. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to reduce the top. I'm going to leave the bangs open. I'm not going to touch them until the very end of this haircut. And then I'm going to get to a point where about right here, I'm going to switch and I'm going to melt into that cut we did on top. So I'm just going to naturally jump into this today, grabbing my magic clip. Again, we're going to go pretty clean on this top. If we could look down, I'm going to do a fade. Start with probably a 3 guard, 2.5 guard, 2 guard, and probably get a 1.5 guard at the very corners. And then I'm going to bring this fade all up together. So I'm going to jump naturally on this 3 guard. I'm going to keep it about halfway between open and closed just to give me a little freedom here. And I'm going to just start this bulk reduction at a kind of a fast clip. Again, this is a great opportunity to be kind of fast with your haircut. Again, there's a lot of detailed work in these tight fades. So, any opportunity I could just kind of rip through the hair and reduce a lot of this bulk and hair that we're not even going to use. Let me clean this off real quick. Again, if you seem like they're not working that well, I love using the Cool Care, just a quick kind of clean. It probably will sound instantly better. Kind of shake it off. If you want to get a towel, Again, these videos are pretty live, so anything could happen, and I will just try to show you on the fly on what I do. So now it's naturally running better, so that's a very quick and easy way to get your tool back up in action. Again, I use these all day today, so there's gonna be opportunity for them to kind of lag out. So back in action now, and I'm instantly gonna just continue following which way his hair wants to go. Just naturally cutting it down. I'm moving from side to side. This haircut's 360 degrees, so I like to kind of look at it at different angles. But as long as my clipper is going with his hair in a nice, uniform, easy, not fighting it way, we're gonna be in good shape. Because if I was coming up on him, I would dig too deep. I would get too much hair. So I'm trying to create some softness, some flow. And I'm gonna work this all the way down, following his natural hair pattern. And basically what I'm looking for is a pattern, because his head's only so big, right? So if I follow his head around in this kind of 360-degree rotation, I'm gonna start realizing that I'm doing the same strokes all the way down. And once I know that pattern, makes my life a lot easier, because I could just jump on each guard. So now I'm at a 2 guard. I'm gonna keep it halfway between open and close. Again, gives me a little bit of wiggle room. And I'm just not gonna bring it nearly as up into his bang. So I'm gonna keep this a little farther back, bring it a little lower on his sides. And I like to backstroke around the crown. I could be coming around here and coming up, but I also don't mind kind of backstroking, which is I'm just using the back part of my clipper and just kind of feathering through that crown. That crown gives a lot of people a lot of issues. So if I was really aggressive with it right now, you know, I might take it too short and make it too flat in the back. So me just kind of feathering through here gives me a little opportunity to kind of slowly work down that crown. So again, through here, where the hair kind of grows down into the side. So I'm following that pattern, and I call it a typewriter, remember? So once I get to one side, I'm instantly gonna backtrack, follow my guideline all the way back. I'm gonna hit this other rail. It's gonna make me wanna come all the way back, just kind of like a typewriter hitting each side, and it shoots itself back on the other way. Again, my main objective is to make this look nice and symmetrical for my client. I want both sides to look the same. So really I'm just trying, that's why I like to do, if I do one thing to one side, I like to kind of come over and instantly do to the other, especially at this beginning debulking phase of this haircut. Again, with the fade, listening to the fade is just as important as looking at the fade. I know a lot of guys like to listen to a lot of loud music and stuff in their shops, and there's a lot of stuff going on. So, you know, really try to be present and be aware of what you're doing, and try to listen to your haircuts, because listening to it and listening to those hairs, still grab that clipper is very important, because your naked eye can't really see that all the time. So just an important fact, just to keep listening to the haircut just as much as you're looking at the haircut. So that was my 2 guard. I'm gonna play it safe and jump to a 1.5 guard. Again, make sure you hear that click in that clipper, that guard, so it doesn't pop off when you're doing these fades. And make sure you always have a back finger on the back clip of these guards. I call it guard control, so I could really go fast and I know that this thing's not gonna pop off. So again, I'm gonna continue my pattern down, continually using my magic clip, listening to the haircut. With every guard that you descend down to, you should, you know, start to hear more and more hair. And remember, I'm only going halfway down, because pretty soon I'm gonna bring my fade up and melt into the top of this cut. So really with what I'm doing is I'm just making my life easier, so when I do start my fade low and bring in, I'm not meeting a bunch of hair and a bunch of bulk right here. I'm meeting something pretty close, so it should be a really easy blend once we get to this middle section. So I'm gonna continue my descend down, going with the hair. Not once have I gone against the hair. Continually working down this fade. Again, if you notice, I have really nice control with my hands, moving his head, his neck in a way that's going to be suiting for me to see my haircut. Again, it's showing control. It's making your client feel comfortable. The more positive touch, meaning the more touch with your hand that you can give to your client, the more trusting you're going to have with each other. Just they get to reduce a lot of negative energy through you. So I like to have just a nice positive touch, and more so it's helping me with my haircut. I'm able to position his head in a way that he wouldn't know that he should be doing, but just with a very small motion with my hands, it's right where I need to be. So don't be afraid to touch your client. Too many people are just out here, just their tool, the only thing touching their client. And I get that. You could definitely cut a cool haircut and a nice haircut with this way without touching your client. But there's just something about having that nice, proper control, moving the scalp, getting in there, getting in those hard to reach areas with your clipper, that you are not going to really get if you're not touching your client. So hardest thing for me to teach at my shop, again, is with women barbers. Again, they don't have these opportunities to get haircuts like this, so how are they supposed to feel what it's like? All their haircuts are really out here, trimming out here, so it's like they don't really get their scalp touched like this. So to any women barbers out there, don't be afraid to really get in there and get in touching the skin, touching the client in a very respectful, professional way. And I promise you'll get a lot of clients coming back just because you have a really proper touch. So let me get back on track with this cut with you guys. So I'm at a 1.5 guard, about halfway closed, continuing my descend down, working with this little pattern I created, or at least the hair I think is telling me. Again, I'm just reducing bulk. I'll be able to go through this whole haircut again to cross check. And at a point, what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start not just coming down, but I'm going to actually start coming just straight to the side right here. And I'm really going to keep the toe of my clipper, depending on which side I am on the head, really flat and really down. So a lot of hair is not getting cut through this section of just right through here. Again, just making my job easier for when I bring this fade up into this haircut. It's going to make my job a lot easier. I'm going to switch now since I'm on this side of the head, just using the toe. Nice and easy. Listening to the haircut. Flipping. I have big hands, but these are really nice to flip. Very easy. I'm a big fan of these True Barber little rubber clips. It really helps with a nice little grab. I could be really quick with these. So I'm going to flip back. Keeping that clipper nice and flat to my client. Coming over here now. Listening to the hair. Watching which way it grows. Using the toe of my clipper. Fading this down nice. Here in a second, I'm going to jump on my 1 guard. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Perfect. Okay, guys. So again, I'm going to run through this whole fade again. So I'm just slowly, art of reduction, reducing this hair to the shape I want. So I'm on my 1 guard now. I have it right in between, all the way open and all the way closed, halfway open. Again, same technique now. I'm going to stay flat. Just using the toe of my clipper. I'm going to come over this way now, on this side of the head. Being patient. Nice, strong, positive touch. Again, this is the widest part of his head. You know, this is occipital bone. It's very hard to get that nice and clean. So that's why I'm keeping it nice and flat. Trying to get this bellied up right against his occipital bone so it doesn't protrude out. It's going to be a really cool haircut when we really drop this fade on him. Do a little detail work as you're going if you want. I kind of like to. A little circular motion, just trying to buffing this out just a little bit. Like I said, I'm going to run through this all again. But if I could get this looking almost perfect before I really go back through and do my detailed work, it's going to be a really great haircut. So let's just keep rolling, working it out. I still hear hair. He has nice thick hair, kind of has it grows kind of all over the place really. It doesn't have the strongest, it's not all just growing down. So if you notice how much I have to really turn and tweak my clipper to really get this fade looking good. But that's okay. I mean, everyone's so different. Every hair is so different. That's what I love about this job is, you know, it's like a puzzle. Each person is a puzzle. Their energy and attitude for the day could change by every appointment they have. So, you know, it's just a fun opportunity to be, I don't know, you just get see how the blessed people, and you're never going to get tired because you never know what's walking through the door. So I'm going to keep working this down. I'm about to jump on a half guard now. Let's go ahead and blow my client off. Just want to thank Dyson for the awesome blow dryer. I like to blow off my client as much as possible because if he's looking in the mirror, I don't want to see a bunch of hair on him. I don't want anything itchy on him. So I encourage you to blow off your client, you know, 4 to 5 times a service. And so I like to kind of, every tool I change, once I change a tool or sometimes even a clipper, if you take off a lot of hair, or clipper guard and you take off a lot of hair, every time I will blow somebody off. So it helps you kind of remind yourself to keep them clean. And just every time you change to a clipper, to a scissor, to something else, good opportunity just to kind of clean your canvas, clean up your client, make them feel good. I love blowing off their shoes, just letting them know I'm thinking of everything about them from the tip of their head all the way down to their shoes. And a lot of times clients wear some nice shoes into your shop. They want to flex a little bit, and I want to be a place where they can do that. So take care of the shoes, take care of the haircut, everything else in between will be just fine. So again, just being patient, working side to side, halfway open. So pretty soon, your clipper is going to get pretty warm. I've been using this puppy a lot, and I'm about to jump onto a no guard, so it's just going to be metal on skin. So I encourage you, if you have more than one clipper, jump on it now, or you're going to need to take the time to really cool off your clipper guard if you want, just to make it a little bit more pleasant for your client. You don't want to get anything too hot sometimes. So here in a second, once I close this all the way down, I'm going to jump on my JRL, hit this with a little bit of cool care, kind of cool it down while we're sitting here. We're going to use it again. So now I'm jumping on my JRL. Just because it's nice and cold, I'm about to go pretty close to his skin, have this just a little bit open. I'm just going to follow this line right here. Nice and clean. Not trying to get too low on him. Just really trying to follow the natural shape of his skull. There's just certain things I kind of add to my head. I make like a little mathematical equation, and basically this equation is just kind of questions, you know, what does his hair want to do? What can it do? What does he want it to do? What is his lifestyle? How much time does he put into his hair? How much does he care about his hair? You know, the more you get to know your client, the more you understand his haircut, and the better you understand his haircut and his lifestyle and who he is, the better the opportunity for a really, really good haircut. So let's just keep working this out. Listening to that hair. I'm going to close it. There's a little lever right here. It's just click by click. I love these JRLs because it has a nice little click for each little setting, so you kind of Helps you really remember where you're at with your settings. You can just follow that line. This is a really cool technique, just especially if you're kind of new to the game of fading. I'll show you what I do here in a second. I mean, again, everything I do doesn't mean you have to do it. And I'm not saying what I do is right. There are so many ways. I like the saying, there's 1,000 ways to bake a cake as long as you get a nice, delicious cake. So, you know, I know a lot of people are going to judge me on for what I'm doing and how I'm holding things. So that's okay. You know, you got to use that to help learn as well. So hopefully I learn from them and the critiques. But hopefully you guys could kind of think outside the box and hopefully learn something from what I'm doing here. So all the way closed now, just being patient. I really don't hear too much hair anymore. Nice and easy, not much hair, not much hair. Okay, so from here, I'm gonna jump on my Hattori Hanzo trimmers. And basically, it's just I like to just go through and kind of do a quick lineup as I go. Again, I try to do haircuts in every 30 minutes. I'm trying to do really quality editorial work in 30 minutes. So this is just kind of my way to kind of keep me in check, make sure I'm really giving these guys a great service. I'm already right here. I'm already by his eyebrow. I already have a nice trimmer that gets really clean. So why not just do a little bit of eyebrow work? Always get the middle. I always like to push up on my eyebrows. You know, I don't want to push down too much. If I sneeze or he sneezes or he moves, we're gonna have a bad day. And when I get to the bottom, I like to pull down. Again, giving me a little bit of safety room. This is a very high risk maneuver if he moves or I move. But again, I'm pulling down right here, so I'm not going into his eyebrow to hurt anything. And again, look how, this is a very quick way to show some trust, show some detailed, skills that you're really trying to give him a really unique haircut. And if you successfully do this without hurting him or making it feel weird, he's gonna love the rest of the service because he knows how detailed you're already being already and you haven't really done anything yet. So just working this out a little bit. Again, the frame of the face is so important, so I really want to capture that, as quick as I can as well. So again, this is not 100. I'm just dropping this in. I'm gonna go back through with some razor work. I'm gonna go back through with some more clipper, more fading. But I just like to get a little bit of a visual on what this haircut's gonna look like as I go. So again, getting this off. Let's blow, if you're working around the eye, you might get some eyes in his face, and that might be a little, close your eyes. So let's just make sure we're blowing him off constantly, keeping him comfortable. Again, if whatever you do to one side, we have to do to the other. So we're gonna push up, away, 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 away. We're gonna come down. I like to lift up on his eye. It showcases a lot more of that skin for me. And I'm just gonna use those first couple of teeth of my Hattori Hanzos. He has really nice eyebrows already, so it makes my job very, very, very easy. I just clean my trimmers off on my arm if I'm busy. If I'm right here and all of a sudden there's some product building up and I'm around his eye, it's a very sensitive spot. So I don't mind rubbing. I like to rub on the back part of my arm every once in a while with my tools just to make sure I'm not hurting. You'll feel the scratchiness if it's not dialed in. So I like to kind of clean anything off with just the back of my arm like this, just because if it's not hurting me, I really pray it's not hurting him. So just a nice little trick. To see how your tools are working, use the back of your hand. So jump right back into this, continue with my eyebrows. Again, we'll go back through with a razor to do a lot of this, but I'm gonna try to get it as clean as possible. I'm a big fan of if you have the tool in your hand, try to use it to its fullest. You don't want to be jumping back and forth between tools. So you want to keep this, I'm going to use this to its fullest. I'm going to try to get as much of my job done with this as I can. enough so where I'm just going to do a quick little C shape around his ear. And some of you are like, oh man, he's getting a little off track here, but to be honest with you, no, I don't think there's any track. As long as I end up with a really cool haircut at the end, it doesn't matter how I get there. As long as it's in a timely fashion, as long as I'm ready for my next client when his appointment's there, it does not matter. So again, just a really quick little lineup around the face, and I'm gonna continue this fade down. So I'm gonna continue with my hitters, and again, I'm just using the first 2 teeth of my Hattori Hanzos, and with this tool, a little bit more room for error. If he moves or anything, we're gonna really see some issues. So now if you notice, I'm gonna have a nice little guide finger with my pinky. I'm gonna be controlled with my left, and I'm gonna follow the rest of this haircut as if I'm using a razor, because I don't want him really moving. I don't have much wiggle room for this line. And I'm just going to clean up this line, keeping it flat. Clean lines equal clean haircuts. Please remember that with whatever guideline you're creating, your main objective is to keep it as clean as possible. Coming back around. Nice solid touch. Okay, so here the fun begins. And the reason why, let me clean up this side. Like I said, sometimes you forget. I did that little C shape on that other side. Didn't do to this side. That's okay. I noticed it. I'm gonna do it right now. Play catch up. Again, these haircuts are live. I don't plan too much on these. They sit down. I go for it. So, I hope I mess up. I hope I get into some predicaments that I have to fumble on and catch myself, because we're human. That's what is great about this job, is that, we're going to make mistakes. We're going to actually mess up, but it's how you get back on the horse, get back on the clipper, and get onto that next haircut. How quickly you could forget a bad haircut and move on is what makes a really good barber. So hopefully some of this stuff I'm saying is not boring you to death and you're kind of enjoying it, because this is stuff that I really believe in and really, really practice on a daily basis. So again, I don't need to do too much time down here because I'm going to go skinned out. So what I like to do now, this is what I've been trying to practice here. So what I do now is I'm going to take my trimmer and I'm going to come a centimeter from where I was doing my little line here. I'm going to drop a guideline, very, very faint, just enough to leave me a little bitty dark guideline the whole way. So this is a little different. I think I don't see too many people doing this way, but maybe you like it. So this is what I'm trying to bring to the table. So a very faint line. Don't put too much power into it. Just enough for you to see the difference. Okay? Very fine. The smaller, finer the line, you don't want much hair up there, the better, okay? So I'm just going to follow this around. Trying to make this as faint as possible, leaving just a little bit of brim of that long hair to buff out the very, very end. I'm going to say it right now, whatever you put the line in with is what you're going to get the line out with. So at the very end, I'll probably jump back on my Hattori Hanzos to finish this cut. So I bet now as a viewer, you can kind of start to see that little bitty line I made. So from here, what I like to do is I'm going to start in the back. I'm going to follow that line, and what I do is I lift up on the skin, strong. I like to come straight down. Pretty satisfying. I do this a couple times. Then I flip. Do a little bit cross-checking. We're getting real tight right through here. I like to come back over, lift up. I'm not going to do full swipes. I'm going to have maybe just 3/4 to half of this, just so my clipper doesn't get bogged down. Press nice and tight all the way through. Do this a couple times. flip, need everything else. If you want to go back through, cross check, cool. Keep moving through, all the way down. See how fast and easy this technique can be. Down, all the way, down, all the way, flip, all the way. Down, all the way. Let me scoot him over so you can keep seeing this. Flip, all the way up. Again, trust the process, trust yourself. It's just hair. I'm actually a cosmetologist. I'm not a licensed barber. So if you that makes you upset and want to get off the channel, or that's totally cool. Though I've really practiced my heart out to kind of be both. I wanted to be a cosmetologist and a barber. I wanted to be able to melt cosmetology tops onto these barber sides. So I hope I could kind of teach you guys a lot of scissor work, a lot of clipper work, so you guys aren't scared to do any type of work that comes into your chair. So don't let a piece of paper define who you are. You are who you are. And I love that about this place. So don't be afraid to be you, and cut whatever type of hair you want to cut, however you want to cut it. So let's keep coming over here. Let's, whatever you do to one side, let's do to the other. Down, up. Again, you could tell that I really love these Hattori Hanzo hitters. They don't pull, they don't irritate. I could really just dig through really quickly. And once I get done, then I'm gonna cross check by going sideways. Really make sure I'm getting all that hair nice and clean. Again, this is just the art of reduction. I'm taking a raw, thick form of hair and trying to reduce it down to a shape that was not what it was at all before. So I just think that's really cool that we have the opportunity to really kind of change someone's appearance so drastically through a haircut. So I know there'd be some guys sitting in chairs next to you being like, what the hell is going on over there with that haircut? But again, trust the process. Don't let anyone else tell you what you're doing if you're doing it wrong. Maybe I'm doing it wrong, so I don't know. Though this is how I wanted to do my haircut today on Henry, and so far I'm getting through it, and I feel really confident, and I love that. I was pretty nervous. These are hard haircuts. A lot of people doing these haircuts, online, but I really wanted to kind of break it down, go slow, and show you what we can do with just a clipper and a trimmer. I'm really, like I told you, I'm not going to try to use any scissor work. Maybe some razor work at the end. But like I said, I just want to show you what we can do with just a little bit of tools and some creativity and some thought. So let's go back over. Now I'm going to cross check. So I'm just going to go sideways now. I've been going up the whole time. I'm not trying to get into that guideline at all yet. I'll show you why here in a second. Again, the art of reduction, trying to get this as clean as possible for my next step. So far this is looking really, really good. I very encourage you to just hype yourself up in your head while you're cutting. I know your client will give you a lot of good feedback, and hopefully you have a good team surrounding you telling you that your haircuts are good. Though, you have to be your main hype man. So right now I'm thinking, hell yeah, this is looking real good. So I'm gonna blow him off again. So as much as I love my Hattori Hanzos, okay, they get tight, but they don't get the tightest. So I'm going to just jump just real quick to a little tighter trimmer. I have my JRL trimmers. A lot of these things have been on the market for a while. So I'm just going to go back through And I'm gonna go back over this little spot, these, this bottom part of this cut. I use my Hattori Hanzos for. Just see if I'm grabbing any extra hair that the Hattori Hanzos missed. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna jump on my foil shaver, get this a little tighter, and then we're gonna get onto a razor blade and really make this feel really, really special for my client, and really step up that service, get that tip up a little bit, and make the world go round. So let's just keep going here. Everything's looking really good on my friend. It's really hot here in Bloomington, Indiana. Again, I need to thank Trailway Studios for the opportunity to cut at their beautiful studio. But it's like 90 some degrees outside, so it's hot. These haircuts are popular right now, so let's make it right. So I'm using the back of my hand to feel everything. It's feeling really good, but let's make it feel better. That's our main objective, always make it feel better. So let's clean off our guy again. And then I'm gonna jump on my Babyliss Pro double foil shaver. I'm a huge fan of the Sterling's Gold. They don't make this anymore, so unfortunately every time I score this, it just makes me sad. But you're just gonna hit the tips of our foil shaver. And I like to start with the top foil, and I'm just gonna come down real lightly. So I'm gonna be coming down, not up, all the way around the head. The reason I'm just using the one, I believe if I would use the double, it might, I know I'm getting really tight through here, but I need a little bit of dark right here, just a little bit more than down here. So I feel like if I went double on it quick, it would just take it really to skin. So if I'm right up here, I'm just kind of lightly dragging it down from my guideline, and I'm just putting a little bit more pressure as I get lower. So it's a real light touch, and then pressure, pressure, pressure. Real light touch, pressure, pressure, pressure. Real light touch, pressure, pressure, pressure. So light touch, pressure, pressure. Light touch, pressure. And that's gonna help you not create another line, not raise that line, and really make this a really buttery looking cut. More pressure at the bottom, less pressure at top. And okay, and now what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna flip, and now I'm gonna meet right where I left off. Nice, good pressure. If you wanna use two hands, that's a great way to do it. Even with your clipper, holding it with two hands is a great way to keep it right in front of you. Moving that ear out of the way. I always like to get all the way down to their cheekbone. Clean up right under their eye with my foil shaver. I get the tip of their nose, get the bottom of their lip. Again, I try to use my tool to the fullest. If it's in my hand, I'm gonna use it as much as I can, get the job done out of the way. Again, always going down at first, trying to get all that bulk down so I don't hurt my gentleman, I don't pull any hair. Nice pressure. Nice pressure. And what I love to do, I like to fan away. So I'll fan into that fade. It almost just kind of brightens the face out. Fan away. Okay. So again, why I leave that little brim right there, again, it's just showing me where I could go and can't go. It's just a little fence. So I get to kind of work this little haircut out down here, and then I just have to blend that little bitty line, and our haircut's damn near gold. So just a little bit more detail work after that, but I'm seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. So I'm just allowing my tool to do its job before I bust out my razor, just to make my razor work that much easier. So there we go. You doing good?
Yeah, feeling amazing, thank you.
You're welcome, you're welcome. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna bust out the razor. So I'm using an Elegance gel. What I like to do, I'm just gonna keep this pretty low. I need a little bit of darkness here, okay? I can't take that skin all the way up. I need a little bit of transition right here. So this razor work is just going to be that really low part. So what I like to do is I like to start here, and I just take a pump all the way down to my finger. I don't know if you could see that. And I could always come back for more, but then from here, I could just scoop off, and I just run it exactly where I need it. I just use 2 fingers. If you need to go get that. So going through, using the gel on my hands just to nicely paint it on to the areas that I'll be using my razor. Do a little bit of work around his eyebrows. Make sure we're getting our little corners up here. Okay. So I know you probably can't really tell with how clear this is, but I have that gel painted on real nice where I'm going to be doing all my razor work. I'm going to get a towel, I'm going to wipe off, and I'm going to get a hot towel, so I'll be right back. So with the hot towel, make sure it's not too hot. I like kind of make it look like a Batman a little bit here, and then I'm just going to drape it on his back. And as I come up, I like to twist the ends. Kind of creates a little look like this. And then what I like to do is I like to clip everything up, allowing that towel to really sit there. Again, time is everything. So while he's sitting here, I could be over here, get my new razor. I like to have my station nice and clean, you know, as I go. Once you jump on that razor, man, all your attention has to go to that. So very serious when you bust out that straight blade. So, you know, I just like to kind of just get my bearings straight, let them just relax, and then I'm gonna jump on this. So what I like to do is I want to drape them a little bit, just kind of give me a little bit more option around the neck. Put a little towel behind him here, something to clean off my blade. Get my clips. I'm gonna let this sit so I could use it later. Get my razor blade. Okay, so I like to start in the back, and I'll kind of work my way around. It's just a good opportunity to kind of get your bearings. So again, I'm gonna start low. Nice and smooth. Take it all the way down to his neck. Again, I don't like to talk too much when I have a razor in my hand, so I'll have to kind of push through this a little bit. But nice having a nice thumb right above your razor at all times, creating some tautness, making sure that skin's nice and flat. Don't be afraid to move the neck, keeping that at a nice angle so you're not hurting anyone. For me, I always feel like I cut my client when I'm using like the very tip of the blade, you know, so the more I could stay flat with it. Be careful when you're moving your client with the razor in your hand. Nice and smooth. Be very careful around the ear. So just take your time. Anywhere where there's points is a huge opportunity to nick someone with the straight blade. So, you know, don't be afraid to really move that ear out of the way. Clean up this little C shape real nice. And just working our way down this hairline, nice and smooth. Keep working. Okay, let's clean off the blade. Let's bring them over here. I'm going to clean up this line first, nice and easy. Clean up this line, nice and easy. Yes, again, I want to say just thank you so much for watching this. I really hope that you guys enjoy and just learned one thing today. Hopefully, as we go on, we'll get just unique haircuts and opportunities to really showcase the power of the art of reduction and what you can do to somebody when you give them a really, really beautiful haircut, really designed for their lifestyle, for what they do, for what they want. And when you do that, you're really going to create a really great opportunity for some success behind the chair, just like I did. So I guess that's one of my main opportunities I want here, is to give you the opportunity that I have, is just to be really successful and a successful stylist at that, and a happy one. So perfect. This is looking really, really good so far. So let's clean them off. I'm going to put that blade nice and secure away. Let's grab on our warm towel, probably cool by now a little bit, so I can kind of clean them up a little bit. And then we're going to buff out that line and maybe do a little work on his bangs. Remember I said we're going to leave the bangs till the very end and really bring this haircut together home. So since I already have him wide open, I could just hit him with a little bit of Johnny B aftershave. This is the PM, the blue one. We don't like the green one. Team Blue. Smells good. Okay, let's blow them off real quick. So if you remember correctly, what I said is whatever you put the line in with is what you're going to get the line out with. So remember, I put that line in with my Hattori Hanzo hitters. So that's what I plan on getting it out with. But what I like to do is I like to come down first and then come up, okay? So I'm going to start here, make sure it's clean. I'm just going to use the toe of it. And I'm just going to hit that line. And I'm going to try to hit that line only. Really precise here. Just hitting that line. And it's going to look almost perfect just by doing this right here. But once we flip this back and go back through it one more time is when I think the magic happens. So going all the way over. Again, just coming down, slowly buffing out that last line. Again, I'm not trying to bring that line up. That's my main guideline. That's my money maker right there. So I'm not really trying to bring this up. Just fading it out. But I feel like if I would have came up on it, I might have moved that just a little bit too much possibly. So again, this is just a way to save myself from some heartache being this close to a great haircut. And all of a sudden I bring up that line too much. And we all know how that goes. So let's get to the side. Listening to the haircut. Listening to the haircut. Let's flip back over, come the other way. Do some cross-checking. Oh yeah, we looking good. Okay, sorry, zoned out a little bit, but that's okay. You're allowed to do that too. So got down my Hattori Hanzos. So what I like to do now is I'm busting out my feather razor. So far I've used only trimmers and clippers. So that's the majority of the haircut. So I'm pretty proud about that. But let's do a little detail work. So I'm gonna, in between what I think a straight razor is and a tight trimmer is our beautiful feather razor. So this bad boy is one of my favorite tools. And all I'm gonna do is just use the toe, and I'm gonna be really soft, and I'm just gonna, if there is just any little hairs that I don't like, I'm gonna go through and just feather razor those out. So far this is just looking really good for my client, really cool clean haircut, and I hope you guys enjoyed so far. Again, we still have the bangs to do. Like I said, the bangs are such an important part of the haircut. I kind of like to do last because it's one of the first things the client sees when they open their eyes. If you notice, I have had Henry almost his eyes closed the whole time, so that's a good thing. You want your client to be relaxed in the chair. The quicker I could get my client to relax, the better. And that's the goal. You know, it's a stressful world out there. And so if we could give them 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours of just some peace, that's really cool. So don't ever forget what you're doing is important. So now let's really start at this top. So I'm gonna stick to the whole using the clipper. As much as I could use scissors up top, I'm gonna stick to my word. So I'm gonna put a 1.5 guard on my magic clip. I call this the money maker. All my combs are Johnny B, pretty signature blue combs, but I love this comb. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start finishing up this haircut using my magic clip with a 1.5. And I like, when I'm doing this technique, I like to have it completely closed just to really make sure it grabs. But that 1.5 guard just gives me a little bit of flexibility to kind of do some kind of this back little stroke cutting, just kind of getting those little baby hairs when I'm coming up on it. It creates a nice soft touch. You know, some of that hair is kind of feathering through that 1.5 guard, creating just a little bit softer touch, almost like if I was using a scissor. And again, my main objective, I want a little bit of lift up front. So I'm just kind of making sure I'm nice and clean, one uniform shape kind of in the back. Let me get a little better look on this. So it's a little shorter in the back, and as I adventure up front, I'm trying to gain and do a little bit of lift. So it's a little shorter back here, trying to get those baby hairs. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of a lift. I want a little bit of motion, a little bit of movement for my client Henry. We went so clean on the back, on the sides. It's a nice, cool haircut already. So having a little bit of length up front is not going to make him hot. It's going to, again, like I said, it's going to elongate his face, give him a little bit of a style, and it is just such a cool haircut. So again, being real diligent with my word about using clippers and trimmers the whole time. Using my money maker to touch everything up. Using the toe up, you want to dig in a little bit, kind of get in there and slice cut, just use the toe. Okay. So now let's do a little detail work. Let's blow them off again. You doing okay?
Thank you.
So my detail work, again, I'm sticking to my word. I'm gonna use all my detail work with my trimmer. So I'm gonna go through and kind of, if I could see anything that's a little dark, out of place, I'm gonna touch everything up with my trimmer. Clean up everything, make it real presentable. I don't use any enhancements. I don't use any color fillers. You know, my fades aren't perfect. There's going to be some parts that you don't like. They're not going to be perfect, but I don't think any haircut's perfect. It really is not. So I'm going to get close. I'm going to try my hardest for you guys. Though I'm just not a fan of enhancements or kind of color to kind of make things darker, because, you know, you're going to take a shower, they're going to wash their face, they're going to wash their hair, and is it a bad haircut after that? Yeah, probably. So just try to do a good haircut from the beginning. So again, I'm just being real picky right now. Just finishing off this cut. Clean up the eyebrows. And then the last thing I like to do, a lot of people kind of look at me crazy and they like, how does that work? But what I do, I take my foil shaver and I'm just gonna run it right on top of everything. Going with the hair, don't go against the hair. And I'm gonna run this right up his bang. Kind of opens it up, kind of tells those hairs, those little baby hairs on which way to go. Buff everything out. Beautiful. I'm gonna get another hot towel real quick just to clean him off. I'll show you the styling product I'm gonna use and then we'll be done. So 1 second, thank you so much. I like to make sure it's cool. I'll sit back here just with the back of the neck. Again, they could do this, but it feels a lot better when you do. I keep it like this the whole time. I transfer over. And then what I like to do at the end is I flip it over and then I offer them the rest of the towel. So Henry, if you could take this towel, wipe off the front of the face, behind the ears, the neck. Thank you. So make sure you get their collar back up. We're not trying to set any trends here. And then today, we are a big fan of the Hans de Foucault product line, based out of California, I believe. They started the same time we started our shop in 2012, so we've been a big fan of these guys for a long time. So this is their claymation. He has nice, thick, short hair. We want to add some texture to it. So this is a great product. Very, very clay-based, very tacky, pliable. Great product. Water soluble, which is nice. So I'm gonna make sure I really work this product into my hands. Make sure there's no clumps. If you notice, I worked it completely in, can't see anything. And what I like to do with all my haircuts damn near, I like to start in the back and I like to just to make an exterior shell. Working all the way forward, trying almost like a ice cream cone that's dipped at DQ. You know, you're just trying to create that little shell, even though it's nice and tight on the sides. Don't be afraid. And just style it out like that. It should just really pop into shape. Oh yeah. So I'm gonna swing him around. Can't thank you enough for watching more of The Art of Reduction. Again, my name is Reeve Andrews. This is Trailway Studios here in Bloomington, Indiana. And hopefully we'll see you next week. Thank you guys so much.